Okay, so remember that they're changing my voice. Let's make this a quick video here. I just want to calmly tell you what's been happening. They know that when they change my voice and try to make it so it sounds gay or nerdy or white or like a PowerPoint presentation or like a Freemason or something, it's going to make me mad. Okay? And I'd rather be mad about it than be calm. I would so much prefer to be angry when that happens than being calm. They also make it so that being in my car kind of worsens the effect, where they change the sound of my voice with the nanoparticles in the air or whatever is in the air. So I'll just refer to them as nanoparticles. And they know I've proven for years and years and years that mind control is real. Before it came out in the mainstream news that brain hacking was going on, I was saying, mind control is real. Going back to 2012, before like anybody was talking about brain hacking. Okay, not common. I mean, people behind the scenes or whatever, wasn't that commonly discussed. I said, yeah, they have technologies that can do things like that. I was talking about how they can put voices in people's heads. And I found articles where for a commercial in New York City or something, they had some kind of beam where they're putting the commercial in people's heads as they walk by. And they were saying, hey, you, no, it's not in your head. And they talked about how it's a commercial. Okay. And I talked about the military magazines where they were talking about ways that they could communicate with the troops without headsets, right? Putting voices in their heads. And eventually I started talking about how they were hacking the brains of pigeons and using them, or they were using the pigeons. They found a way to remotely control the pigeons and use them to spy on people in the Middle East or something during Afghanistan or Iraq or something like this. And back then, a lot of people were playing stupid in the comments, right? They were like, oh, they're mentally ill, this, and this. Then it comes out about the Havana syndrome. Those guys go quiet. A lot of people start saying that, hey, we were right. A lot of the trolls, they're quiet. They feel stupid. And then, it comes out with the brain hacking and DARPA and Elon Musk and Neuralink and all kinds of connections. So all those people who were riding the state's dick, they invested emotionally, politically, socially, financially. They invested in the argument that the state could do no wrong, that psychiatrists must always be right, and psychiatrists were silent. It came out in the New York Times. One of these people was saying, run, not walk, to see a psychiatrist, and they were wrong. They had betrayed their patients. They had broken their Hippocratic oath. First, do no harm. Not only were they playing stupid about someone suffering, but they were helping the government cover it up, and they were drugging them, and they were sending them to psych wards, and people were they were suffering a whole lot. Okay? And to this day, do they scramble to secure compensation for me? No. And so it was with the law enforcement as they roll with it. They it was white social norms that they would want to say, look, we're white and whitewashed people, and if that's what the psychiatrists are saying, then you need your medicine, buddy. And these are people who, time and time again, like the military, they suffer from post-traumatic stress. They have all kinds of mental health issues in law enforcement, all kinds. Okay, some are psychopaths, some are sociopaths. I mean, a lot of these people are very sick people. I'm not saying every police officer is the sickest person you ever met, but a lot of these people are very, very sick people. Some are raping people, beating their wives. Okay, some are on the take. Some, have rackets going. They have deals with criminals. I mean, we are talking about criminals here. I mean, law enforcement is, like the gangs described in L.A., the LAPD is like a gang. And before it came out with the Banditos, they had said that. They said, the Rampart Division isn't the only group that does that. And obviously you get white supremacists. Oh, yeah, a criminal would say that. You get those kind of dickheads. And lo and behold, it comes out, hey, there's police gangs. There's multiple police gangs, right? The Banditos is one of them, if I have the name correct. And so you see that I was on the side of truth against the grain, isolated here in a small white town with not a lot of people supporting me. All these Republicans and these whoever Democrats who are rolling with it and bootlicking with their conservative tendencies, they're acting like, no, we're right. No, we're the experts. And now they look so dumb. They look so fucking dumb. And now we see with all these protests, we see with ICE, yeah, all those racist white people that didn't like Hispanics, they didn't and don't like Hispanics, they didn't and don't like black people, they didn't and don't like Asian people, that you see it coming out like in full force. All these people who are saying, oh, racism isn't a big deal. Okay, it got so big, and they just started deporting people, sexually assaulting them, attacking them. You see Ron DeSantis and all these people on the news saying, don't insult ICE. Okay, like they can do no wrong. When police officers get arrested all the time, they get charged all the time with crimes. But he's saying, no, don't insult ICE no matter what. Is basically what he's getting at. Crazy, it just can be just crazy. You think that law enforcement should operate with impunity and never be charged for anything no matter what? You think that America doesn't have a long history of people abusing their badge? Like it even starts with the word bad. The word badge even starts with the word bad. But these stupid inbred and inbred-like motherfuckers, they just don't understand life. They don't. When I look back at the timeline, do you think that I would want to do something that I would never want to do? Which is be some kind of Walter Peck bitch? Be some kind of Pee Wee Herman Masonic punk? Do you think that I magically wanted to be some fucking square, some Boy Scout, some adult Eagle Scout bitch? Like, what the fuck don't you people get? Some guy in the church? Some weirdo, some lame, somebody who wasted their life being boring? You think I regret doing something that no one with sense could ever possibly regret, which is the most righteous thing? Carrying my cross in a way better than Rambo enduring, better than Christ in the story enduring? You think I regret that? Does somebody who worked out for 10, 15 years regret working out? I struggled for the right reasons. You people endure mental hardship for the wrong reasons. It's just like I was right about gang stalking, about technologies of gang stalking. I was right to expose it. I was right that my life is greater than yours. I was right that righteousness is greater than wealth. I was right that they wouldn't be able to beat me at my top martial arts challenge. I was so right about everything that matters, everything. I was right to start making my videos. I was right to be uncontrolled opposition. I was right to kick chicks to the curb when they started acting like narcissistic whores. I was right to tell females about themselves. I was right to tell catfish about themselves. I was right to be a very interesting person instead of a lame person. I was right that a short righteous life is greater than a long conformist life. I was right about so many things. About the implication of sparring, the interpretation of scriptures. So I'm right about these jealous, frat-like worms trying to enforce the loser laws, right? Eros, right, is scrambled in the word loser because their conception of love is for people who lost in life. They didn't win the good fight in life, they lost. They couldn't overcome their temptations. They couldn't overcome their carnal desires, their sensual desires, their desires for white supremacy. Their desires to put masonry over the top martial arts order. Their desires to put their corporations and their clubs and their governments over God's order and their churches. 20,000 denominations, and when Christ comes back, every one of them had their nose in the air. In America alone. And all over the world, there's at least 30, 40, 50,000 denominations, I'd imagine, all over the world. They all had their nose in the air, refusing to admit that they're wrong. Blind as a bat, stuck in the pit, stuck in the snare, the trap. They all refuse to admit that they're wrong and I'm right. And some team up together, even though they all don't believe the same things and think that they're right together or something. We are talking about dumb hypocrites. We are talking about vipers. We are talking about idiots. Evildoers, children given to corruption, monsters. I've remained relatively calm compared to my last video. I was going to make this video like 2 minutes long. But when you see what's going on here with the brain hacking, with the fumes, I'm right to say things the way that I do. Again, Luke 12, verse 57, especially to attractive females and their parents. It's under the section of interpreting the times. Luke 12, verse 57. Why don't you judge for yourselves what is right? In that chapter, there's the parable of the rich fool. There's the do not worry, right? Put righteousness over money, over trying to survive. There's watchfulness. There's not peace, but division. I didn't come to bring peace, but division. Now, why can't you judge for yourselves to be on God's side? I get provoked by these people as they do disgusting things, horrible things, childish things. They do so many things to provoke me. And they're completely discredited. They're political parties, just like 10 years ago, there was people riding the party goat. I mean, there still is, but back then, the parties hadn't failed so blatantly. Back in 2015. In 2017, the left wing lost to Trump. Then when Biden won, they failed to put a candidate up there who was going to insist on ending homelessness, a logical war on poverty plan. They fixed roads and bridges, something that Republicans would agree to at some point anyway. And they made compromises for that. They just, Biden wasn't that good of a president. And then they failed again and Trump got elected again. And all this time, when California still has a lot of power to end homelessness in California, to set the model for the nation, Gavin Newsom was saying he was hoping to do so. He didn't do so. Could have worked with the state assembly, could have pressured them. He could have reached out to the voters in California and said, hey, let's build 200,000 tiny homes with land purchases included, with running water, for $6 billion. Keep in mind that they have, they spend like over $300 billion a year these days, or something like 312 or something. I forgot the exact number. What's $6 billion? If you have to loan it from the banks, what's $6 billion? You could build 200,000 units. You could end homelessness here in California. It doesn't take long to build tiny home units. Didn't want to do it. Because that's the political party we have. They politic. And I'm not trying to pick on Gavin Newsom here, but that's a priceless example. And to the one who much is given, much is expected. When you're the governor, much is expected. When you're a citizen of America and you have some kind of rights compared to other countries, much is expected. When you're in Santa Clara County by Jesus, do you say, why am I by Jesus and I don't want that reason, and act like a worm? Or do you act like an adult and rally to Jesus? And earlier, they got me to kind of say a phrase. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I said, that I'm in charge and not the whites, the Jews, the LGBT, the Latino communities, what have you. So sometimes I get mad, and I won't go as far as say I'm right to say it, but sometimes I get mad. And when I said, I'm like, man, I really did not want to say the Latino community, though it is true, and they are doing something funny with the No Kings protest. But it's important that people understand these things and what's going on and why I'm mad. And I'm mad at everyone according to their deeds, not just whites, Jews, and LGBT, right? Not just the people directly gang stalking me and the people giving the orders, what have you. And I bring up their families because their families are in their spirit, but also because they're persecuting my family. And as we look at the timeline, right? When you look at the timeline, if you look at it as some kind of Western worm trying to survive, some kind of mere craftsman who's just a craftsman, doesn't obey God to me, has decided that all they're going to be is a craftsman building the New World Order, then you're going to miss the point of life, right? Virtue means man, focus, moral intensity, righteousness, justice. So you have to do the situation justice. So as they're waging war against me, do you think that Set magically did what he didn't do, which is win? No. People who think like Set, who like Bill, like Jupiter, like Zeus, they lose. They're on some rape cult, childish, baby line, Rothschild, child, bitch shits. Nicole Kidman, no offense to Nicole Kidman, but there's a reason why there's the word kid in the name. They like the wordplay. They choose people for the names at times and stuff like this because it's baby line, Lady Gaga, Kidman, Rothschild. Folly is in the heart of a child, Proverbs. The rod of discipline will drive it away, and if people don't let God purge, they don't do what they're supposed to, which is let God purge the wickedness out of them, the child out of them, then their soul and their spirit is marshaled to hell. One way or another, the rod of discipline will drive it away. So as we look at this thing and say, who do you think won? Some shallow atheist who's like, I don't believe that anyway. Some fanatic homosexual with a kind of scatterbrain look in his eye who says, because he's gay, he's not going to accept that the ideal man is a straight martial artist, because he can't accept that to him, in his mind, he can't accept that. You think that's mature? You think that's honest? Is that jealous and petty and stupid, or is it honest? The agnostic saying he doesn't know. Okay, name one great agnostic. The closest thing to is Bruce Lee, and he wasn't a great person. He was just an actor. He did some cool moves. I liked him as an actor, but he was just an actor. I've never heard of an agnostic who's a great man or an atheist who's a great man. And in America, at least at one point, they said 10% of Americans are atheists. That's like over 30 million people, 33 million plus or something. That's a lot of people. Not a single one of them is a great man. So as you look at this thing, you say, okay, what the hell? What the hell? There's more atheists in America than there are people in Israel and Palestine, combined. But none of them are great. And people, no offense, but people in Israel and Palestine, some of them are likable, but none of them are great people. So you can even combine them with that. Look at Asia. Billions of people. None of them are greater than I am. One of the differences is philosophy and generations of martial art activity. So when you look at a planet of 8 billion people, and the top martial artist is the greatest man on the planet, top martial artist ever, greatest man ever with the universal scale, and he's monotheistic. When you look at that and say, well, I want to follow a dumb fuck instead, you're making a mistake. Like, why do you want to waste it? Are you going to get on all fours and follow the dogs too? I mean, where do you draw the line? When do you realize it's a mistake to not rally to me? This is not rocket science, brain surgery, or the hardest thing ever, which is being the top martial artist ever possible here. It is common sense that would bring you to me. That's why in Proverbs it talks about folly calling out to those with no sense. And wisdom is trying to save those with no sense, because those who have sense are already traveling on the road of wisdom, in the way of righteousness, on the path of justice. And keep in mind, I'm somebody, again, I can't stress this enough, I'm not a racial supremacist, I'm a moral supremacist. And also, I used to be engaged to my ex-fiancée, who was part Greek, part Italian, basically considered white. And I was madly in love with her, right? Now I'm not in love with her, but back then I was madly in love with her. She left me for someone else, okay? Very much like the prostitute in the Bible. Minor things that went on in our relationship, and behind my back, she was, sleeping with other guys, what have you, because she was in a mystery cult, secret society. And keep in mind, I've hated secret society since I was like a little kid, since I first heard about it. I didn't like the idea. I didn't respect it. I thought that, hey, that's how the criminal underworld works and otherwise, and how, but I didn't respect it, nor did I want to be like them, no. So as we look at this thing and we ask ourselves, what is the situation here? When I was in love with Maria Mello, who I considered a white Mexican or something, I don't know what she is to this day, right? I don't know. Her dad actually said to me, guess what race she is? And it's crazy. I still have yet to meet one person who doesn't believe me about that, even though it's like one of the hardest things to believe in my story, because it's like crazy. I mean, who asked? I mean, again, I looked her name up in the phone book because when I approached her in person, it didn't work out. I was 16 years old, madly in love. Wrote her a poem and said, in the movies when they kind of throw a rock at the window and say, hey, he said, what are you doing here? And they try to make their pitch, and maybe somebody's around the corner giving them pointers, right? But I was doing it by myself. But I didn't go to her house, right? Her dad, I think, even brought up, he said, you're not going to come to the house, are you? Okay, it's like he knew about these movies, right? And these TV shows. And so I called her up. It went south as it can be. They're using mind control to throw it off, is what the evidence suggests now, because they've had this mind control and this remote brain hacking for decades before this DARPA stuff came out, right? They've had this stuff for a long time. They were working toward it with the Frey effect since probably, since before World War II ended, is what the evidence suggests, and certainly after World War II, on record, they started with the MK Ultra, which is called RAM Scrambled. Now, I'm going to run out of memory on my phone, so let me just wrap this up here. So as I try to pour my heart out to her, right? Okay. And it doesn't work out. Now, for whatever reason, they planted people in my life who would run their mouth. So, I messed around with their bullshit. Some dude said that, some white dude, he was lying. One of my brother's friends said he knows the guy who ended up married to her or something like this, right? And again, I don't care what happened to her. I'm just telling you what they did. And look at the timeline. So as we look at this, imagine you're a real man and not some worm, forged by the West to be some rebel who plays a stupid church game, but actually a real man. And you're sitting at the table with men, great men, divine men, morally precise men, and you're looking at this. Are you like, oh, she married someone else, and acting like a bitch? Is that the move? No, that's not the move. Or you like, this female rejected Jesus, the top martial artist ever possible. Martial is marital scrambled, and I, Christ, and the bridegroom. Even the word Christ has the word hit scrambled into it. And Bethlehem has Belt-he-ham. It's a play on words for Belt-he-ham. See Isaiah 11:5. And champion Siham, Pion. Okay, and so on and so forth. So as we look at the timeline, was that guy a lucky guy for Mariner? No. Do I hold it against him per se? I don't hold it against him any more than the righteous person should. To whatever degree was a mistake, right? Depending on why they got married, whatever. To whatever degree, there's whatever degree. And people trying to warn me, don't say anything. Look, fuck him. If you're trying to warn me about it, fuck him and fuck you. You see what I'm saying? You think God Almighty, who forged eyes, doesn't see? You think God, who makes women, couldn't make better? You think I'm not above whoever married him? I mean, her? You think I'm not above whoever? Like, that's fucking retarded. Whatever social club, some kind of bitch-made social club that tries to insult Christ to feel better. I mean, that is fucking pathetic. Like, Dick Dastardly, is like above that. The idea of Dick Dastardly is above some bitch-ass motherfuckers like, oh, yeah, get someone else to date Maria. And that is fucking pathetic. I mean, imagine sitting at a table of serious warriors, not some craftsman, gender-neutral pussy, but a serious warrior, not some Freemason with a thong and a fucking diaper and a tutu and an apron, but a serious warrior, a group of serious warriors. And you're like, well, we did some hazing like bitch shit, in a sense, and we got it between him and that's fucking retarded. Not only is that fucking stupid, yeah, but they would grab you up and they would fucking kill you. It's like the parable of the tenants. When God comes back, when Christ comes back, they're like, oh, but we douched Maria. What the fuck do you think happens to you? You think people are going to be laughing in heaven for eternity thinking you're right? Or you think they're going to be cooking you and making you suffer for eternity? You stupid, poor bred piece of shit. I don't mean poor by money. I mean, you don't have spiritual wealth, you fucking punk. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's called bitch made, because they come from a long line of bitches who are too stupid to obey God. The word bitch starts with the word bit. They don't see clearly. The blind lead the blind. Instead of being righteous and sitting at the table with men, he sits at the lodge with bitches. Punks. Military psyop pussies. Code of silence pigs. Punks. Behind the scenes, diaper wearing, make sure there's 10 cops pointing a gun at motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, before they make a move type of bitches. Cripple him first, poison him type of pussies. You call that being a man? In the spirit of a corrupt nation, saying the authority of this corrupt kid pushing nation, I'm coming for you, pal, and we're running psyops like bit. It is fucking pathetic. It is painfully pitiful and pathetic.